together.
Right here is a melodious piece in the form of a ukulele. It was passed down to the guest by his father.
He died young. He died in 1967, and I've had it ever since. In fact,
This special piece from the early 20th century was made by C.F. Martin Guitar Company. Also, it's a Style 3, which is one step below the top-of-the-line model. This piece features intricate inlays on the fingerboard and an ivory on plastic wedge piece. Additionally, the nut is made of ivory. What's interesting is that it is distinguished by its Hawaiian koa wood construction.
Bring it international, and then you just have to figure out what the regulations were at the time.
right.
The market in these have changed significantly. 20 years ago, they were worth very little.
However, this piece of musical history is a testament to Martin's artistry, which embodies the spirit of the early 20th century, and is worth
Current marketplace, that this instrument, in this condition it's in, would sell in a retail market for about $3,500.
Wow, that's great.
Wearing a vintage ring is like wearing a piece of art. This fancy ring was bought by the guest at an estate sale for $200.
They were founded in 1892 and were around until about 1960.
Made by the American luxury jewelry retailer Marcus & Company, this ring dates to around 1905. It is an 18-karat yellow gold enameled diamond and ruby ring. On the inside is a very clear signature of Marcus & Company.
Here, Marcus & Company was a very prominent New York maker. They were founded in 1892. And
The ring is Indian-inspired, having a Mughal design.
Burmese rubies couldn't be exported, so there was a hold on them. Therefore, there aren't very many of them on the marketplace today.
It dates to the Art Nouveau period, a period inspired by nature. The center stone is a unique ruby.
They were enamel masters. They're beautiful, very bright diamonds, really used as accent stones. Also common for Marcus & Co. for the day.
Pinkier, saturated rubies, like this, are more often from Burma, meaning the ruby is most likely Burmese. Historically, there was an embargo on items between Burma and the rest of the world, so very few of these items are in the marketplace today. The use of green enamel work and beautiful bright diamonds are characteristics of Marcus & Company. This is indeed a beautiful piece of jewelry. It is valued at about,
I would say at auction today, it would be worth between $7,000 and $10,000.
Whoa, no way.
in 2021, its value rose to between $8,000 and $25,000. What do you think it will be worth today? Let me know in the comments.
Take a good look at this extraordinary collection of Georgian and Victorian jewelry, handed down to the guest by her grandmother, who died at the age of 102. First, we have this Georgian gold Bella link chain.
And typically it's got a hand clasp terminating at the bottom. On the finger of the clasp is this little gem set ring. It's a beautiful little piece.
The other gold chain was made in 1825 out of spun gold. Then we have these mourning rings.
Now, the thing about mourning rings is, of course, when someone died, it was customary to commemorate the person by...
Then at the back of the ring, you will see the person's name and date of death.
And then also you might find a tiny little locket compartment where there would be a small lock of hair.
Next, we have a late Victorian gold ring with a sapphire center surrounded by half pearls. Being such a vast collection, at auction, the gold chain would sell for...
That by itself is probably worth something around £1,000.
This fine mesh chain is worth...
That's probably worth around about £600 to £800.
The rings are worth...
That's worth about £800 to £1,000.
And the mourning rings are worth about...
The mourning rings are worth between £300 and £400 each.
God. Oh, I didn't realise that at all.
It really is a unique collection.
Two absolutely different objects, a skateboard and a vase, are presented today. The vase is an inheritance, while the skateboard was acquired. A Wedgwood-made vase, it is evident in the high-quality ceramic used to craft it. The figures on the vase are undraped and tell the time of its craftsmanship.
It's a classic, and we know it's slightly earlier than later because the figures are undraped.
The skateboard, adorned with a classic design of skateboard art, was made by the most famous skateboard company.
By the most famous firm, Powell and Peralta, Mike McGill.
These two different pieces, each with its own allure and historical significance, would each fetch a price of
$600 to $800. So the prices have dipped a bit. But if I'm looking at this, at £20 30 years ago, it's been a pretty good investment.
It was inherited from her aunt, who got it from her husband during their marriage. It's an interesting cluster ring with a diamond at the center and another one at the side.
But the thing about this ring that's most interesting is this one, because this is a bluey green one. All diamond set, but all different colors.
Finding colored diamonds is really rare, and this one is quite exciting because
one of the rarest colors that you can find are blue, and even rarer is the color green.
the surrounding line of diamonds around the principal three are from a different era.
I think it's certainly Victorian, this cluster, with this type of silver setting, this nipped-in setting here.
The three principal diamonds are all claw-set stones. At an auction, this beautiful diamond ring is worth,
and say hopefully at least £2,500 to £3,000, but it could very well be worth £5,000 with all the right gradings.
Well, that's very good news.
Created to perfection, today's guest brings an item we don't usually see on the Roadshow. Called an Austrian cold-painted bronze figure.
Go at a car boot sale for £1.
For £1?
£1, yeah. I just liked him, so I did, and I thought he was a great bargain.
This figurine was created to depict a stag, which is a male red deer.
Well, we've got what is an Austrian cold-painted bronze figure.
Perhaps what is most surprising about this figure is that, despite its size, it accurately represents the animal figure, and this tells us that it was created by an expert in the craft. For the reason that it was created by experts known collectively as Birdman, and that the figure shows great attention to detail, this figure fetches the auction price of
Your £1 purchase today, you're looking more like £500 to £600.
The guest shared an interesting story of buying a surveyor's compass from an antique shop in Salina, Kansas. It was purchased in 1970 for $120. The intriguing piece boasted fine craftsmanship with the name G. Chandley engraved on it. The appraiser identified it as made by Goldsmith Chandley, a renowned Quaker clockmaker in the 18th century.
And in 1783, he moved to Winchester, Virginia, and started his own business.
The compass was made between 1783 and 1795. Despite not having the original tripod stand, the appraiser valued them at...
This is worth $20,000 to $25,000 retail.
Today's feature is something we're not used to because it doesn't feature a specific item. Instead, the goal here is for us to identify if the item today, which are vases, that were created by an expert designer known as...
Smothered in triangles and diamonds, this is a typical early Clarice Cliff pattern. But is it all that it...
Clarice Cliff. For context, Clarice was a ceramist and designer whose work was unconventional. Most of her work resembles how the vases here look, but there's a high chance these weren't created by her.
Art Deco at its absolute best. Striking shapes, daring patterns. But did Clarice...
We can see the unique design and attention to detail on the items. Despite this, do you think this was created by her? And how much do you think it would be worth in today's market?
This English pottery jug is known as a Liverpool jug. Richard Chaffers was the founder of this jug factory around 1754. These jugs were made a lot in Liverpool. The guest acquired this Liverpool jug from a barn sale for just a few dollars. Liverpool jugs are traditionally valued, especially those depicting American historical subjects. The jug's value highlights the potential treasures that can be found in unexpected places, like a simple barn sale. Despite its humble acquisition, at a good auction, this jug could fetch between $5,000 to $7,000.
That's wonderful.
Makes you wonder what else was in the barn.
Yeah, exactly right.
Perhaps one of the greatest misconceptions about World War II was that prisoners were always maltreated. Even though that might have been true to an extent, today's item tells a different story. Called a German prisoner of war toy, this toy horse was created by prisoners of war at a time when most would think that because of their horrible experiences, they would be crazy.
To be said that, of course, during a war, you're always told, oh, well, they're the enemy. You know,
Perhaps what's most surprising is that the toy was created as a gift to the guest's father in preparation for the birth of the guest.
Throughout his life, he was a person greatly interested in people and more concerned with the person than the political.
If there was ever a situation of an item created for pure love and adoration, it would be this toy horse. Since it represents love, admiration, and was created by people one would least expect, this horse auctions at a price of
what it should look like, and they recreated it for you. Value, I mean, it's not going to be a huge amount because of condition. I'd put it at perhaps 60 to 80 pounds.
This oil painting by A.J. Kaysen, a member of the Group of Seven, holds a special significance for our guest. The guest's grandfather, who was friends with Kaysen, gave this painting to him as a gift. A.J. Kaysen was known for his flat and broad style with areas of color, and he was not financially successful as an artist until later in his life, despite his artistic renown. The Group of Seven, founded around 1920, was a dynamic group, with members joining and leaving over the years. Kaysen joined the group around 1926 and remained active in the Toronto art scene throughout his life. This painting, likely from the 1930s or 1940s, is estimated to be worth between $25,000 to $35,000 at auction.
Yes. Well, thanks a lot for bringing it. Thank you.
We have on the show today an elegant watch, accompanied by its original box. The watch previously belonged to the guest's father before she inherited it. This watch was crafted by the Rolex company and
it says meters first before the feet. They generally did this for the European market.
It is made from stainless steel. It is a submariner model, specifically dating back to 1950. Notably, this vintage item features its original dial, although the band has been replaced. A distinctive feature of this watch is the pointed guards protecting the crown. Contained within the original box are the watch's papers. It is not often that we encounter a watch like this, still accompanied by its original box. Despite the band replacement, it would still hold considerable value at auction, estimated to be around.
I would tell you that this watch in the market today, $12,000 to $15,000.
No way.
Oh, yes, way.
These two paintings by Edgar Paxson, acquired by our guest in November of 1986, are a remarkable find. Edgar Paxson, a self-taught American Western artist, was captivated by the frontier, influenced by James Fenimore Cooper's novels. Known for his detailed watercolors, Paxson's work depict both the romanticized and realistic aspects of the West's changing landscape. One painting, dated 1907, features a detailed depiction of an Indian on horseback, showcasing intricate costume details and jewelry. The other painting, livelier and action-packed, captures the romanticized vision of Western activities. These paintings are valuable pieces of American Western art, reflecting Paxson's skill and historical significance. Each painting has an auction estimate of $15,000 to $20,000.
Oh, that's nice to hear.
Unlike nowadays, where when you marry someone, you're gifted a car or other priceless items, during the olden days, one of the gifts given to mark an achievement such as marriage was a needlework sampler. To many, it might not make as much sense, but at the time, this item was viewed as a symbol of great achievement in marital affairs. Needlework samplers are known to often include alphabets, motifs, decorative borders, and sometimes the name of a person who embroiled it, as we can see here. When we look at the back of the sampler, we can see it was done by a woman named Elizabeth.
Stroud of Stroudsburg. Looked up possible places on a map and decided this must be Pennsylvania. This is my fourth great-grandmother did the sampler. And
it was likely done during 1788 to mark Elizabeth's introduction into marriage. Since this is a peak representation of olden days achievements, and due to the attention to detail while doing the embroidery, this needlework sampler auctions at
insurance or replacement value on this piece would be somewhere in the vicinity of $25,000.
Really? That's amazing to me.
The guest brought a Space Conqueror robot to the show. She inherited it from her cousin's estate. The Space Conqueror robot was designed by Raymond Kurzweil in 1965. It is one of the first robots ever created. It was designed to be used in space exploration. It had artificial intelligence, allowing it to learn and make decisions on its own. It had sophisticated sensors for detecting and navigating around obstacles. It had a mechanical arm for manipulating objects in space. Its design was very advanced for its time. The appraiser values it at...
Well, why don't we round $297, call it $3, and then we'll put another zero behind it.
Really?
Yes, $3,000.
Oh my golly! I can't believe it.
At auction, that's what it should bring.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you for bringing it in.
Thank you.
Acquired at an estate sale in New Jersey 3 years ago for $175, this poster captivated the guest with its early Art Deco style. Our guest, a poster collector, became interested in Art Deco through the Kino brothers.
And then other than Trouville was a resort in France, I believe.
That's exactly right. So Umberto Brunelleschi was a very famous graphic designer and artist.
The poster features the work of Umberto Brunelleschi, a renowned Italian graphic designer, and...
Right. But this poster was printed in Italy. Right. Why would a French resort use an Italian printer? And to be honest, I don't know the exact answer for that.
Brunelleschi's illustrations were highly sought after, especially for prestigious Art Deco fashion magazines like the Gazette de Bon Ton, and he also designed costumes for renowned Parisian theaters. The poster advertises Trouville, a French seaside resort, but was printed in Italy, showcasing the international collaboration in the art world during that era. Despite its beauty and rarity, similar posters by Brunelleschi have sold for less than expected at auction. The appraiser values this poster between...
A very realistic estimate on this piece would be between $1,200 and $1,800.
Okay.
The guest came with Alexei von Javlinsky meditation oil. She inherited this painting from her mother. The artist is Alexei Javlinsky. He was a Russian expressionist painter active in Germany. He was a good painter with bright colors and dramatic outlines. He did a whole series of these face paintings. From about 1934 to 1937, he did these meditations. The materials are oil on the paperboard. Smaller meditations, but it's a little bit somber in its tone. This is very typical of his works at the time and appraised for $50,000 to $70,000.
Cool. Thank you.
It'd be about $50,000 to $70,000 at auction.
Lamp like no other. This uniquely designed lamp has been in the guest's family for many years. No one wanted it, so she took it for herself.
No one wanted it anymore. People aren't really into snake motifs so much, and it had to fit into the right place. So
This work of art was made by the artist Edgar Brandt. He did all kinds of architectural works, ranging from doors to radiator grills and fences. This is one of the lamps he made. The lamp was available in two sizes, this size and a table size. This glass shade also varied, as some were made with an alabaster shade. This lampstand is made of bronze and by Brandt, while the glass shade was made by the Daum Glass Factory. This piece is from the Art Deco period, dating to around 1925.
Has some problems here with this green. Bronze is mainly copper, so when it deteriorates, it turns its green. It's the reason the Statue of Liberty is green.
This is one of his most famous pieces. It is titled La Tentation, meaning the temptation. The snake coming out of the basket provides an Egyptian influence on this piece.
It's this wild snake coming out of a basket down there.
Right.
The 1920s is when Howard Carter found King Tut's tomb.
Right.
So there was a tremendous amount of interest in...
There are some condition issues on the lamp. This slightly affects its value.
Lots of reproductions. So it's nice that the one you have is a real one.
All right. That's the good part, right?
That is the good part.
In this state, it is valued at about...
Talking about $35,000 to $45,000.
No kidding. Wow. That's incredible.
The guest came with the Babe Ruth archive. She got these when Ella Simon, a family friend, passed away in 1983. Babe Ruth archive has a Babe Ruth ball, a picture of Babe Ruth, and an autographed picture of him. The baseball is signed by several All-Stars and Hall of Famers, 12 signatures in all. The book was given to Ellis by Babe, autographed in the front, a beautiful fountain pen signature. The large photo is personalized to Ellis. This was taken during the shooting of the movie, which has a little bit of wear, and it appraised at $300. The beautiful large photo was appraised for $15,000 to $20,000.
Wow. Great. Thank you.
Porcelain figure, a Madonna and a child, is elegantly portrayed in pure white. The guest inherited this treasure from their uncle, and its legacy is now woven into their life for nearly 3 years. It's an exceptional quality piece resembling the Chinese Blanc de Chine style.
Symbols on the back of it.
First of all, let's look at the quality of it. For something that's white porcelain, all over white porcelain, not...
However, it's made in Germany, specifically by Meissen. The figure's intricate modeling, despite being uncolored, is highly detailed.
Fabulous quality. And that's really what tells quality when you don't have something that...
The crossed sword marks confirm that it is Meissen, with a glazed mark indicating that it was made after 1900. Despite its age, the figure is in excellent condition, with the scepter as a separate piece, aiding its survival.
The scepter was actually made as a separate object so that it allowed it to survive the process. I could see that being the first part of it.
An estimate of auctioned and retail value is...
Tell you the auction value, which if it came up at auction, would have a pre-sale estimate in the range of $3,000 to $5,000.
Okay.
Retail establishment easily at $6,500.
The guest came with Andrew Clemens sand art. He inherited it from his grandfather. It was presented to his great-grandfather around the end of the Civil War. It's colored sand in a jar. It's an incredible piece of sand art. On the back, you see this wonderful eagle with the 36-star flag. The label at the bottom is Pictured Rock and Sand by A. Clemens, deaf mute from McGregor, Iowa. It is a remarkable piece of folk art. Sand art is appraised between $4,000 and $6,000.
Great piece. It's great.
A pair of unassuming objects arrive at the Roadshow, presented by a guest who found them at a Beijing flea market. Dating from the late 19th to early 20th century, the objects are intricately carved walnut shells. Spinning dragon designs adorn the shells, each a masterpiece of meticulous carving.
Too difficult a material to work with.
Is the nut actually still inside?
They've removed it from one side.
Surprisingly, the walnut itself is hollow, not by splitting the shell, but by carefully creating a slot for removal.
Slot in one side and then worked it out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Amazing.
The appraiser acknowledges the inflated prices for genuine items in Beijing, highlighting the guest's stroke of luck in acquiring these authentic pieces. At auction, this phenomenal pair would be estimated between...
Well, I'd imagine these would sell at auction for probably $1,000 a piece.
Oh my.
Yeah.
I had no idea. $1,000 a piece.
Yep.
The guest collection consists of items belonging to their father from World War II. Specifically from the guest's father's service in lighter-than-air airships. The U.S. Navy used non-rigid airships for various purposes during World War II.
They were used for air and sea rescue, scouting, minesweeping, and aerial photography.
The collection includes the guest father's flight log, orders from Blimp Headquarters Squadron 1, photographs, dog tags, wings, and a piece of blimp skin with his name on it. The wings and the dog tags are indicative of his role as an aircrew member, and the piece of blimp skin is a unique souvenir from his service. The collection is considered complete, and the value is estimated at $3,000 to $5,000.
That's fantastic. Won't ever sell, it's going to stay in the family.
Presented on the show is a Whiting Sterling Silver trophy. This piece represents a tradition of excellence and achievement. Crafted by the renowned Whiting Manufacturing Company, this trophy embodies the elegance and prestige associated with sterling silver craftsmanship.
Yes. I know that it was a trophy from the Westminster Kennel Club from 1883, and that's really all I know about it.
Also, the trophy's design is characterized by intricate details.
The mark for Whiting, which is a company, American company, started in 1840 and then purchased by Gorham in 1926.
Owning a piece such as this is not just possessing a trophy, it is holding a piece of history and a symbol of excellence that transcends time. However, This trophy represents the pinnacle of success and the celebration of hard work, and it is valued at,
I think in today's market, you easily could be $2,500 as a retail price.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Our guest presented an unusual book, which was inherited from his great aunt,
mother's sister.
And you inherited some of her books?
I did, quite a number of them, and this is probably one of the oldest ones.
Edna Ferber, an American novelist and short story writer. This book contains the published score of a musical titled Showboat, an offshoot of her novel published in 1926.
Musical, which was based on her novel published in 1926. It was a huge success as a show.
Showboat was one of the most successful musicals produced on Broadway. One striking feature is a page with inscriptions by Jerome Kern, part of the production team, expressing affection for Edna Ferber in a witty manner. Also, this piece contains the famous musical titled Old Man River.
Magnolia, why do I love you? Why do you love me? A sort of witty way of expressing his affection for Edna Ferber.
This impressive and well-written piece, at auction, would be worth at least.
And we think that a copy like this, at auction, should be estimated $3,000 to $5,000.
Exhibited on the show today is a vibrant painting, passed down to our guest from his mother. This painting is one of the works of Dwight Tyrone, a highly talented American landscape painter of the late 19th and early 20th centuries.
Liked his work so much, he commissioned Tryon to do a series of landscapes for his home. Today, those paintings...
Additionally, Tyrone had the distinction of exhibiting at the Paris Salon, a significant honor.
Smith, close to his death in 1925. Now, his early work...
This painting, produced in 1916, depicts a landscape scenery adorned with vegetation, featuring a striking combination of bright blue and red hues. Furthermore, it bears the title, October Morning. Remarkably well preserved, this painting, being one of the works of such a talented artist, is estimated to be worth
2008. It would probably be more in the 30,000 range.
The collection of baseball gloves was acquired over 35 years from flea markets and garage sales, reflecting the guest's love for baseball. The use of gloves in baseball evolved from being considered unmanly in the early to mid-1800s to becoming a necessity due to the risk of injuries, especially with the introduction of professional baseball in 1869. The collection includes gloves from the 1940s with early web designs, a buckle-back catcher's mitt from the 1930s, and a rare white buckskin crescent glove from the 1880s, known for its asbestos lining. The crescent glove, being a left-hander's glove and in excellent condition, is valued at an insurance value of around $4,000, while the other gloves from the collection are valued at lower prices based on their age and rarity. The value of this tiny, beautiful ring will leave you shocked. Engraved with the name Lalique on the side. Lalique is a French company known for jewelry and glass pottery. It's a rare and truly beautiful item. The guest got it from...
Old gentleman who lived next door. We made a lot of
He was on his own, left on his own, and we looked after him and so on. He was 94 years old.
And did he know about whatever?
I don't really know.
It was made by...
That it's made by one of the towering geniuses of the Art Nouveau movement.
The green part is made of a particular type of enamel called plique azure. It was crafted with a Japanese technique.
Suggesting the veins in leaves and the veins in the wings of buzzing insects with pierced gold, and then he'd hold the enamel in suspension like a bubble, and it gives a little bit of naturalism, or more than a little bit of naturalism.
This is a work of art that people love to collect, and at auction it would sell for...
I think maybe 5,000, maybe 6,000 wouldn't be completely mad.
Discovered during the demolition of a garage, a collection of early auto show posters emerged from the rubble. These posters, dated 1903, 1907, and 1908, showcased a unique blend of early car culture and artistic expression.
It looks like they were only half saved from the demolition.
Yes, unfortunately there was a leaky roof that had gotten to a few of these posters.
Two posters bore the signature of H. Peck, which enhanced their significance.
Right, exactly, right there. Okay. And this one also says HP, so it would also...
Another artist, Frank Dodge, signed two of the remaining posters, all promoting the Boston Auto Show. These are all authentic stone lithograph posters.
From the turn of the century. Wow. I'm going to be very honest with you. I think these are very inexpensive frames.
The unique imagery, coupled with the anonymity of the artists, made this collection a fascinating find. Despite the less-than-ideal condition, the posters held significant value. At an auction, the value of the entire group is estimated between
Value. I think the one closest to you, I think that at auction would fetch between $2,000 and $3,000.
This is a Carabao rug that was graciously brought to the show by this guest, who inherited it from her grandmother. The rug was crafted in the southern Caucasus Mountains of southern Russia, possibly by a nomadic Kurdish tribe. This rug is often referred to as the Kasım Usag rug and is estimated to have been made around 1920 due to the synthetic dyes on the embroidery. This is a versatile piece designed to complement any room in the house. One striking feature of this rug is its beautiful curled leaf design, created with a special and timeless embroidery technique. Still in excellent condition, this rug is a valuable asset at the auction. This rug should have an estimated worth of around $8,000.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oh, my Lord.
A lithograph of a painting depicting the catastrophic 1951 flood in Kansas City's Kaw Valley is brought by the guest. This painting was created by Thomas Hart Benton, a renowned American painter. Benton created these lithographs to appeal to Congress for aid, sending one to each member. However, many were discarded until Congressman Richard Bowling salvaged and auctioned some for flood relief. The guest's father, a friend of Benton's, obtained one from auction.
Studio, so he took us into the carriage house where his studio is. And he was working on the Truman mural in the Truman Library.
Personally signed for the guest's parents, along with Benton's letter to Congress.
Hath not where to lay his head. His fellow citizens.
Returning from Martha's Vineyard, Benton then created that painting as a plea for flood relief aid.
And he creates this painting, and from that painting they made lithographs, as you said.
Despite its age, it remains in excellent condition, retaining its relevance and worth. Estimated at
The letter, I would say a replacement value of around $4,000.
Guest bought the two paintings by bidding on them and bought it for $5 for both of the paintings. This artwork, seemingly tailored for commercial appeal and decorative allure. It bears the signature of an artist named Spencer in the lower left corner, hinting at its creation in the later half of the 20th century.
To read the signature on this?
I couldn't see the name, so I couldn't look it up.
Well, here we have the signature in the lower right.
In the lower right corner, the signature of the artist Victor Higgins is prominently displayed. Victor Higgins, who grew up on a farm in Shelbyville, Indiana, is credited with the artwork and a member of the Taos Society of Artists. He gained fame for his paintings of pueblos, Native American life, and landscapes as shown here. Spotting modernism's crisp lines versus impressionism's softer forms highlights their stylistic disparities. The surface displayed a subtle yellow tint with a lighter blue tone at its edge. This is an oil painting. In awe of the oil painting's intricate strokes and vibrant hues, the appraiser valued the item.
I think it would sell in the range of $75,000.
Woo! Our guest's grandparents were missionaries in Korea from 1890 to 1908, and the item, a Korean matchlock gun, was purchased by his grandfather from a Korean tiger hunter. The gun is a rare find, as matchlock guns are uncommon, and the appraiser has
I've only seen guns like this in books.
Really?
I've never actually seen one in person.
Interesting.
Matchlock guns like this one were used before the fall of the Korean dynasty around 1911, during the Japanese occupation. The gun features a hardwood stock, a handmade barrel, and a mechanism that used a cord soaked in saltpeter to ignite this gunpowder. This type of gun was practical and effective, likely explaining why the design persisted. The gun is estimated to be from the 19th or even 18th century. At auction, this Korean gun could fetch between,
say conservatively at auction, the estimate would be like $3,000 to $5,000 on this gun.
Right? Our guest acquired the item, a Chinese Cloisonne moon flask, from her uncle, who served in China before it became communist. This flask features colorful flowers in a Cloisonne technique with
That has been polished down within wire separators, which is what cloisonne is. And it's been embellished by these marvelous kind of gilt bronze, fantastic animals.
The shape of the flask resembles a moon, and it is adorned with a key fret pattern.
The basic idea here is that this is a beautiful object meant to convey color into whatever the setting would be. And that's the purpose of this. And then,
despite its age, circa 1800, the flask lacks a mark indicating its maker or error precisely. The item's flaw, a slight indentation in the center, and worn-off gilding impact its value. Despite these issues, the flask is valued at,
well, you might like to know it's worth about $5,000 to $8,000 at auction.
Wow.
This flask with a potential for a higher value if it were in better condition. A tea cozy, a cloth covering used to keep tea warm, is what this episode is about. Our guest bought this tea cozy from an antique store. The piece, from the eastern side of the Great Lakes, was likely made between the late 1800s and early 1900s.
There are thistles all over it, Scottish thistles, and these have become known as Indian whimsies.
This cozy has a unique design on it, which include a type of beadwork.
The most spectacular piece of beadwork from the Great Lakes I have ever seen in my life.
Interestingly, this cozy was created in a style tailored to appeal to European tastes.
Of beadwork from the Great Lakes I have ever seen in my life. I mean, this is just over the top. And the fact that it's a European form, they knew who their market.
To wrap up, the quality craftsmanship and attention to detail of this piece make it aesthetically pleasing and valued.
And $65? Are you kidding me? Well, it's worth about $2,000.
Wow.
The guest brought a collection of 3 rings he inherited from his mother after she died. The guest knew very little about the rings, except that the ruby ring was previously owned by his grandfather and was resized for his mother. The other 2 rings may have come from his grandmother, who was married to a man in the shipping business in San Francisco. The jadeite ring was a beautiful apple green color, flanked by simple baguette diamonds and estimated to be made in the 1920s. The ruby ring was approximately 3.5 carats, with a bright, intense red stone, possibly from Burma. The diamond ring was approximately 3.5 carats, set in a 1920s Art Deco setting. It was a very high quality and had the signature of the San Francisco retailer Shreve & Company. Together, these 3 rings form a treasure trove of vintage elegance were estimated at.
So we're thinking $40,000.
Wow.
Collectively, all 3 rings, probably right around $60,000.
Wow.
Machinist's chest, belonging to a man who worked at prominent aviation companies like North American and Douglas, holds personal items and tools. These chests were commonly used by machinists to store their tools and personal belongings, making them a piece of industrial history. Due to its association with significant aviation companies and to the completeness of its contents, at auction, this chest could fetch between
this, I would say $1,200 to $1,500.
Okay.
Our guest jewelry pieces were gifted by their great-grandfather to their great-grandmother, with the guest receiving them. The necklace features scarabs or beetles, typically of Egyptian revival jewelry from the post-1920s period, set with a bright-colored amethyst and natural pearls in 14-karat yellow gold. The pin, with a long design and a heart-shaped amethyst, likely dates from
Wing design, and again you have a heart-shaped amethyst. This is probably earlier. So I could put this at 1890 through the early.
Completing the set are briolette faceted amethyst earrings. The earrings are valued at around.
On the earrings, we're looking at around $300.
The large pin at approximately.
Large pin, I would say you're right around $1,000 at auction.
And the necklace could fetch at.
Now the necklace at auction, I would put it in at $1,800 to $2,500.
Oh my goodness.
These valuations offer a sense of vindication for the guest, showcasing the value and beauty of their inherited jewelry pieces. This exquisite piece from Austria, dating back to 1907, bears the signature of a renowned Viennese artist from Vienna. Opening it reveals a surprising secret. It's a beautifully crafted cigar box. Alongside it sits an equally stunning enamel bottle, also Austrian, crafted around 1900. It is made of silver gilt and enamel, a testament to the skilled craftsmanship of the era. Together, these pieces encapsulate the elegance and craftsmanship of early 20th century Vienna. All these make them both valuable and captivating pieces of history. Its auctioned value is $4,800 to $6,200.
What we have here is a Henry Siddons Mowbray painting that was brought to the show by his grandson, who happens to be our guest. This is an incredible painting that was influenced by American Renaissance and classical themes. This type of painting sums up the work of Henry Siddons Mowbray, who was a well-revered artist known for his great pieces commissioned for the J.P. Morgan Museum, F.W. Vanderbilt's residence, and other residences mostly in New York and Newport. This painting depicts muses and virtues and also includes allegorical figures. Additionally, the painting features roses, petals, and other captivating aesthetics. As a fine representation of the Renaissance period, this painting is worth an estimated value of $50,000 to $70,000.
Wow. I could never sell it, unfortunately. It would stay in the family.
Today's feature is something most antique dealers are not used to because we delve into a religious path today. Here we have a family Bible called Metamorphosis.
1814. When you fold this open, the transformation happens. Here you have,
which was created for young adolescents in the 19th century. This is confirmed by the way the pictures are depicted and how it features the likes of Adam and Eve.
Something else. Those books are extremely rare because they're so fragile.
This family Bible is extremely rare as it is fragile and can cut at any moment. And it's why it is not available to the mass population of individuals. Because of this, and due to its valuation by religious antique lovers, this item is worth a hefty value of...
We are probably looking at $3,000 to $4,000 for this kind of thing.
My goodness.
The bracelet has a fascinating story, passed down through generations of the Guest family. Originally believed to be a slave bracelet, it was actually identified as a dog collar by experts. This bracelet's connection to the Lum family mansion in Vicksburg, Mississippi, adds to its historical significance. The mansion, taken over by the Union Army during the Civil War, was promised to be returned to the Lum family.
The Lum family did petition the government to be reimbursed for the plantation, and eventually, after like 30 years, they were reimbursed for their mansion.
This bracelet, possibly acquired by the Guest relatives during this time, is marked with pseudo-hallmarks and believed to be from a jewelry store. Despite its mistaken identity, the bracelet's association with Vicksburg and...
It's a dog collar.
Are you serious?
I'm serious as a heart attack.
Oh my gosh.
In New York, a similar dog collar would be valued at $300 to $500, but due to its historical significance and regional appeal, its value in Vicksburg is estimated to be...
Retail value would be $2,000.
My mother is going to just die.
This stunning piece features a sapphire and diamond arrangement, meticulously crafted in platinum with exquisite detail. In the world of luxury, platinum reigns supreme. However, a crucial detail lies in the alteration at the back. The piece has been remounted on 18-karat yellow gold.
But you should always look at the back. You can see that the back here has been changed.
This change significantly impacts its value, halving its original worth. Despite its exquisite front, this alteration affects its overall appraisal. The estimated value now will be...
It devalues the piece by half.
A chair is not just for sitting, it's for making a statement. This guest brings a chair that has been in his family for over 100 years. It belonged to his grandfather, who purchased it in Europe in the 1800s. This chair was made in Venice around the second quarter of the 19th century, between 1825 and 1850. It is a beautifully designed man-made treasure. The figures on the front are known as caryatid figures.
Part of the building. Well, she's holding up the front of this chair and doing a pretty good job with her wings that are coming out and her hoof feet.
Yep. And turning the chair reveals the lovely griffin face. It has some wear on it as it has been put against a wall and scratched. There are also some lovely scroll designs, a characteristic of its Italian origin.
The whole piece is carved wood, it's probably a lighter pine, which would be easy to carve, and then it is gessoed.
The base of the chair is made of wood. One major indication
It's early 19th century because there's some pins, which is part of the construction that holds it together. And you can see it through the gilding here and then on the other section of the leg as well.
that this is an early 19th century piece is the construction model. It was made by pin construction. The whole piece is made of carved wood, probably a lighter pine which is easy to carve. It was then gessoed before being gilded. Aside from some minor condition issues, the chair is in good condition.
Pin construction. Now the whole piece is carved wood, it's probably a lighter pine.
It has an early French mohair upholstery done probably in the 1860s in Paris. There are Napoleonic decorations to it, all wool. This is why it is still in good condition, as wool mohair doesn't wear easily. At auction, it is valued at about
With the right decorator, he or she would be able to charge in the $10,000 range for a piece like this. I love this chair.
Today on the show, we are discussing doll houses with an appraiser. The inception of doll houses dates back to the 16th and 17th centuries. Originally, they were built in the form of cabinets, not houses. During this period, dolls in their houses were primarily collected by wealthy individuals. It wasn't until much later in the 18th century that they were made for children. Furthermore, dollhouse making became commercialized in the 19th century. We are showcasing two examples of dollhouses, the first being the Bliss dollhouse made in America. The distinguishing markers for this type of dollhouse often have this mark inscribed at the front, as seen here. Interestingly, the process of making this item involves laminating paper onto wood. The value of a piece like this at auction is estimated to be around.
To find that on the retail market today, you'd probably have to pay between $2,000 and $2,500.
Another example is of German origin, made by a company called Gottschalk.
It was very common at the end of the 19th century. They even made chandeliers to go in the houses. Again, in the 1890s, it's hard to pinpoint because they made this same dollhouse.
What makes this particular dollhouse intriguing is that it is electrified. An item like this in the auction market is valued at around
It's not unusual for someone to pay up to $1,000 for one piece of doll furniture.
I see.
A hidden gem. This doll was found stored away in the guest's family's house.
Children actually did play with. It's not just a little art form, it's a child's toy.
It had been there for at least 40 years without her knowledge. This is a very unique and interesting doll.
Two heads are better than one. With this doll, it's like two faces are better than one. Switch her around from the unhappy to the happy side. And it's called a character doll.
It is a character doll, a popular children's toy. It was made in Germany around 1905. They were very popular at that time, up until the early 1920s when they went out of favor. It comes with its beautiful original clothing. The eyes on this doll are unique.
Clothes, there's glass eyes on the one side, and there were painted eyes on the other side.
It was produced by the company Hertel and Schwab and Company in Germany. This was a porcelain factory where dolls were made for other companies. This doll, which is still in good condition, is valued at about
Probably like maybe $3,000 to $4,000.
Today's item is a special item, and not just because it is perfectly carved, but because it represents a historic event known as the Voyage of the Challenger.
15 years ago, there's a factory in England that makes these turtle shells and sells them openly as reproductions.
This voyage took place from 1872 till 1876, and it was the first oceanographic expedition which took place over 100 years ago. This carved turtle was made to depict the historical event, and so we can see it does with the engravings on the carved turtle. Since this is a piece of oceanographic history, this carved turtle auctions at
This is worth in the region of $150.
Okay, it's like a matching pair.
She purchased it at a thrift store for $125. Walter Lount Palmer, an American painter, was renowned for his exquisite landscapes, especially his winter scenes. His works often portray serene, snow-covered landscapes, emphasizing light and atmosphere.
I knew the artist. I looked it up before I bought it. Walter Lount Palmer.
Palmer excelled in capturing light and shadow on snowy landscapes, enriching his scenes with depth and realism. It's typically framed with glass to shield it from dust, moisture, and other potential environmental damage. The distinctive impasto technique showcasing discernible brushstrokes, captures the interplay of sunlight filtering through the trees. Palmer likely began his creations on a gesso-primed surface for smooth brushwork. His palette likely included oil paints mixed with drying oils, enabling rich colors and subtle gradients. Down here, the pinks and the lavenders, all the colors brought out of white snow. Captivated by its serene beauty, the appraiser valued the Walter Launt Palmer oil painting.
Years ago, I would have said $20,000 to $30,000. But he's recently spiked. I consulted with my colleagues. Right now, I put an estimate of $50,000 to $70,000. Absolutely.
Our guest inherited boxes of photos of their great-great-grandfather, Harry Duker, a significant figure in Vancouver's history, known for his influence in baseball. Harry Duker arrived in Vancouver in 1907 from St. Louis, Missouri, hoping to join the local baseball team. While he didn't make the team, he became the club secretary and
These, a real photo team postcard, and then as well we have in here, there's the Vancouver Beavers right there.
the collection includes rare photos of baseball games, such as Aberdeen versus Vancouver in 1907, showcasing Recreation Field, and another photo likely depicting Harry Duker traveling with the team as the club secretary. Additionally, the collection features a souvenir yearbook of the 1908 pennant-winning basketball club and
the club secretary with the team. Also, we have the yearbook here, Souvenir Baseball Club, that the pennant winners 1908.
These photos are extremely rare, with some being the only known copies in existence, making them valuable artifacts of early Northwestern baseball history. The appraiser values the entire collection between
In the yearbook, we put a value on that one of between $1,000 and $1,200.
Wow.
It's a wonderful collection of early Northwestern baseball history.
This guest brought this exquisite arts and crafts sideboard to the show. This is a Scottish or English sideboard representing the mass-produced handcrafted aesthetics of the arts and crafts movement in Britain. Adorned with the beautiful markings of a quarter-sawn oak wood, this furniture showcases the absence of machine-style craftsmanship in its making. The sideboard features bow glass windows above a small glassware compartment. It also boasts Art Nouveau-styled heart-shaped hinges and intricate hand beadings. This design mechanism represents the mission-style furniture aesthetic. The furniture is estimated to be worth around $4,000 to $6,000.
This guest brings this Steve Rabbit and Turtle footstool to the show for appraisal. These items were given as a gift for the birth of her sons by her mother's sister. This rabbit and tortoise were both made by the company Steve. This company is known for making felt animals, particularly teddy bears. These are quite special Steve items. The rabbit dates to around the 1930s, and these glass eyes were used on Steve toys around that time.
Background on the item. If you take a look at these wonderful glass eyes, and in the 1930s is when Steve did use these eyes. Wow. And I love
the ears also show marks where buttons were previously attached.
Button would have been. A lot of the buttons were taken out because these were played with. These were toys. The head is jointed, and there is a squeaker.
The head is jointed, and there's a squeaker on the inside. The tortoise is a nice, oversized piece. It dates to around the late 1940s or early 1950s. It was made to serve as a footstool. The tail has unfortunately been detached from the body. The stuffing of the tail is what's called excelsior.
What is called excelsior. And this is the stuffing that most of the Steiff animals from the turn of the century through today, they're still using excelsior in a number.
Both items are in decent condition. They are valued at about
I know people that would pay up to $3,500 to $4,000.
What?
In 2013, the value dropped to between $1,000 and $1,600. What do you think the value will be in today's market? Let me know in the comments. This Viennese watch is a masterpiece of precision and elegance.
Because as you can see, it's a hexagram. You know, a six-pointed star watch.
Crafted by the renowned watchmaker Herman Bohm, this timepiece is a testament to meticulous craftsmanship and timeless design.
Fantastic watch collector. They decided to auction it off. A dealer bought it, a very prominent dealer.
This piece is characterized by its exquisite details and luxurious materials. Also, the watch is rock crystal, and its inside is made of enamel. Additionally, the pendant features an inscription, HB, showcasing Boehm's attention to detail and design. Clearly, this piece is a symbol of luxury and refinement, adding to its intrigue of how much would a smart purchase bring at auction.
I think that it's something I'll keep.
Oh, I think you will. You could spend perhaps $2,500 to $3,000 trying to replace this watch. I think you did really well.
This lamp isn't just meant for functional illumination on a side table. The lamp is special to a family from North Carolina, originally from the Reynolds family of Reynolds Tobacco. It was made as a vase in France long ago, using a delicate technique called pâté sur pâté, which makes it look see-through. Even though it was meant to be a vase, it got turned into a lamp later on. It's a pretty sky blue color with fancy decorations and platinum details. Despite being a lamp now, it could be turned back into a vase. It might sell for $2,000 to $3,000 at auction, but without the hole, it could be worth even more. This lamp shows that Grandma had a good eye for beautiful things.
Wow.
If it did not have that hole, it would probably be worth closer to $4,000.
Oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps.
The table, passed down in the guest's mother's family since the 1800s, is an authentic 18th century American tea table. Made between 1760 and 1770, the table reflects the popularity of tea in the 18th century, with each region, like New York and Philadelphia, having its own version of a tea table. The table's distinctive features, such as the ball and clawfoot and bulbous column,
So typical of New York. In Philadelphia, they had what's known as a pie crust tea table. The good news.
crafted from the Santo Domingan mahogany, the table is designed to tip and turn, with a contraption known as a bird cage enabling its movement. While the bird cage support is missing, the table's craftsmanship and fine mahogany make it a valuable piece. At auction, this New York table could fetch between
Figure. And I would say the value of this table probably would be between $6,000 and $8,000 at the present. It would be worth.
This delightful pottery pig is not just a piece of art, it's a whimsical testament to craftsmanship and charm. This piece was brought by the guest at a Salvation Army store in Sacramento for $10. This pig is made by the Scottish company Wemyss. Originally based in Scotland, the company moved to England in the 1930s. This piece dates to around 1930s, as the mark on the lower side of the pig indicates it was made around that period and retailed in London. Wemyss pottery was originally painted in different colors and patterns. These patterns usually tell the tale of their origin.
Different ways. A lot of them are painted with roses, which really represents England. A lot of them are painted with thistles for Scotland.
They're all hand-painted and made in different sizes. This is the largest of the sizes made. This beautiful piece is valued at auction at about,
I think it would be estimated at least $1,000. Okay, good.
A seemingly unremarkable cloth-bound book arrives at the show. In the 1950s, the owner's husband, a frequent auction attendee, acquired this book. It's a truly marvelous little book with a charming frontispiece, depicting young ladies engaged in what appears to be a maypole dance. A closer look unveils a more intriguing scene. The ladies are performing calisthenic exercises on parallel bars.
Still in its original cloth binding and was printed in Ireland.
It's a rare 19th century Irish edition printed and published in Ireland. Interestingly, Dublin-printed Irish books were reprints of English works. This, however, is an original Irish publication promoting a gymnastics school run by Mrs. Bougeot. The appraiser reveals the estimated value around
About a $1,500 book. So her husband was like a Warren Buffett of the book buying world. I
Right,
think he did
right.
very well for you.
He
with
would
this.
really be thrilled about that.
Today's episode, we delve into a Mississippian figure. This Indian artifact was part of a collection sold by a lady who had 30 pieces to sell in bulk.
Gorgets, the statue, so I ended up buying the whole set.
Our guest stumbled upon this book of statues in Georgia along the Coosa River during their research. Upon stylistic observation, similarities in the eyes, nose, and ears to the Etowah pieces of Georgia were noted. Additionally, this artifact features writing on the back, potentially providing insight into its origin. Its peculiarities include an ear with a human face and small holes on the body, sparking curiosity.
There's another hole over here. Did you think about those at all?
I talked to a friend of mine that said sometimes when they cast something, you have air holes that...
It's a cast piece. It's not
Okay.
real.
What's intriguing is the potential value of such genuine artifacts amidst the legal complexities surrounding their possession and sale.
So, in other words, if this thing were real, I'd be giving you good news and bad news. I'd be saying, hey, this thing is real and you're going to jail. That's not good.
This Mississippian figure exudes unusual features similar to the Etowah pieces and is estimated to be worth,
As a decorative piece, it's still $300 to $500.
Okay.